What's going on, everybody? Good to see you again one day later. This is propping up on the Gold Boys Network, brought to you by both Pickett and Boom Fantasy. Thank you to Boom and Pickett. I'm GriffyBets, joined by Walla. We had a fun show yesterday. I'm gonna warn you now, you really should grab some pen and paper because I think we threw out a whole lot of maybes, and just about all of them came through.
A lot of the goal scorers.
Just take some notes while we walk through this massive slate because it looks pretty good. How you doing, Walla?
Uh, Pretty good. I mean, I ended up making like a penny. No, just a minuscule amount of money. Because of Tuck not getting one more shot. That would have been a massive change in my night. But it is what it is. Still technically in the green, so I'll just ride that, I guess.
Yeah, I couple late cashes last night. Vander Kane out of nowhere got two quick ones to hit four. Barrett Hayton was making us sweat there for a while. Man, does he get? I don't watch a lot of Coyotes games when there's a bigger slate, but I was locked into Hayton. That guy gets a ton of quality chances, so he
Yeah,
delivered. Came through. He had four. He ended up with four. It's nice when that bounce back spot, like we talk about, comes through. So that
yeah.
was great.
I'm gonna keep him on the radar for any team that is giving up power plays because as long as Chikrin's not there, um, Hayton's getting his his opportunities. Even if he's not getting them on net, he's getting the opportunities there. So that's something you got to keep notes on. Chikrin not playing, it's opening it up for some guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was a fun night. Might as well just jump in because we got what, 8 games, and I think I pretty much wrote down a betting angle for each one of them, so we should probably jump into it.
Yeah,
First one, why don't we start with Florida and Washington? First one I'm seeing. I guess when I saw this game, my initial takeaway was just every Florida game lately is a shot fest. And yeah, I mean, the Panthers are usually leading the charge, but there's some runoff there that benefits the opponents as well. So definitely was interested in this one. Um, Florida averages 31 on the road, and they allow 32 more. So funny, I actually looked at Washington first. If you missed it, Ovi is out for an extended period of time. His dad passed away, so um, sorry about that to the Ovechkin family. But with his absence, you can kind of see who stepped up without him. And I think the two main names that stood out to me were TJ Oshie and Kuznetsov. And I initially liked Oshie because he has 12 shots in his last two against Florida. But I was looking, and I just think Kuznetsov's price being plus 140 on FanDuel and him hitting in, I believe, 5 of his last 7 without Ovechkin, his role just changes when he's not on the ice. So at that price, that was one of the first ones I jumped on this morning.
yeah. I really like the price there too. Yeah, Kuznetsov, he's not a player we often look at for shots. I think, maybe last season he had some runs, but this season, typically haven't been looking his way. But yeah, I think the last game was the second time Ovi was out this season, I believe, and I think the other time too, Kuznetsov hit his shots, and I could be mistaken. I think you did play him that day, if I recall. I remember
I might
having a
have.
discussion about this previously. Um, he was not looking that great, and he just went over and hit his shots. But um, yeah, he steps up. He should get his chances on the power play. He's on the top line, so should have his opportunity here, and he's shown he can do it. And yeah, it's the price. I think it was still at plus 136 just recently, and that's not a bad price for this matchup. Florida, like Griffey said, the matches just turn into lots of shots, kind of on either side. So I think that Washington will still be able to get some chances here, and that's Kuznetsov to lead the way.
Yeah. Um, nice history against Florida as well. That was really the Florida end, someone's hitting their shots. I feel like now I put myself in this pickle where Florida's been on the road for 2 games, and I keep expecting them to just crash and burn because they're shooting the puck so much, and it's just not happening. Sam Bennett's out. I haven't looked. I haven't had a chance to look into how that impacts a lot of guys. I mean, I wrote down Sam Reinhart was the most interesting name to me at first glance. His price actually got a little better. Over in 7 of his last 8. Hits a decent amount against Washington, and volume's been fine on the road, 5.2 attempts. But I don't know. I don't know what to do about the Florida end, to be honest. I don't know if you have an opinion.
No, it's tough because so many guys have been hitting. So yeah, it's hard to like try to narrow it down into one. I mean, Montour's been rolling. I've just been playing Ekblad in a lot of games, but yeah, I could have been playing these other guys as well. That was kind of just who I settled in on for this run, mainly because he was crushing his line. Yeah, he was getting a 2.5 line for these recent games, and he was putting up 5 in a lot of them. So his alts were really good prices and stuff. So that's who I've been on, and I don't hate him at 3. I mean, the history isn't that great against Washington, but he's been shooting a lot lately. Um, that's basically it. It's just a volume thing. They just shoot so much that if that's how they're going to be, then it doesn't really seem like maybe the history is as relevant right now. These guys are just firing away. So, but it's hard to pick one.
Like I'm just trying to see. I wish I could figure out what game it was, but Sam Bennett's missed 1 game this year, and I've just been searching all these normal names. Every single guy hit their shots, whatever game that was without Sam Bennett. Like 4 or 5. Verhaeghe had 6 and 2 goals. We should probably talk about Verhaeghe's
Yeah, that's
goals.
where I was gonna go next.
So that's nice to see. A ridiculously small sample size, but I definitely think Florida can keep scoring. Verhaeghe's rolling, and he loves Washington. So
Oh yeah. Uh, I mean, the goals are there. The point. I wish if point was like slightly better in price,
it's
I
not
might.
even that bad.
Yeah, no, it minus 140. I'm seeing minus 146 or so, which isn't bad when you consider. I mean, he's been productive this season, and but his history against Washington is crazy. There's a point in 8 of 10. He's got 7 goals in his last 4 games against Washington. So, and that's plus 152. So that's an angle there. I mean, he's been shooting a lot lately. He's got a 3.5 shots line. So he's definitely been shooting. His volume has kind of like balanced out a bit. It was at like 7 and 11. He's had a couple 5-shot games, but he's still getting them on net. But he's really just gone crazy in this matchup. And if Bennett's not there, I that's all I'm waiting for. I just want to look at the lines that they actually go with. It might be up now, I don't know, but that's uh that's going to be huge. See what the lines are like, but Verhaeghe just crushes this matchup. 7 goals isn't isn't a joke. Four games.
Yeah, I guess that's the only potential concern. I guess. I mean, when you lose your center on your line, does that mess up your flow? I feel like Luster-Rainen will probably move up and take Bennett's spot. That would be my guess. Um, I might have to. I might play it safe. I mean, I'd have to pair it with something, so that kind of cancels out the playing it safe idea. But Verhaeghe point was something feels like a good bet here. I mean, on the road, he's got 11 points in his last 10, and he has 13 points in his last 6 against the Capitals. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Um, Most of it's goals, and he's shooting so much, so you think the goals continue. Just in case, I don't know. I just find that really reasonable odds for the situation and how well he's been doing.
Yeah, I agree. And if you do parlay that with something, that'll be a much better looking parlay than most point parlays with minus 200 odd legs. So I like that a lot. He looks good today.
All right. Do you want to keep it moving, or is there anything else you want to flag in this?
Um, I think that's all right. There's the main ones there. It's hard to pick a shot guy, so I like kind of going the other angle for a point here from Verhage because that stands out a lot.
Next game should be a fun one. Montreal, Carolina. Definitely. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Carolina doesn't get, to be honest, 37 to 40 shots and 4 goals. I feel like that's what's coming for this offense. And that sounds so crazy, but you just look at the averages, and that's pretty in line with both teams. Montreal's been allowing a ton of shots. I know Carolina's scored 4 goals in 3 straight against the Canadians as well. So I expect them to roll. I have a rule. I need to pivot to a team total when I write down more than 3 people for a point that look good, because I think Aho, Sveshnikov, and Teravainen for a standard point all look great. I like Aho and Sveshnikov shots. I know you like Teravainen shots. Why don't we start there? Because I know that was the first thing you seem to be looking at this morning.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is matchup based, whether it's history or just in general. Montreal, not been good lately, and I believe left wings have had some good numbers against them recently. And Teravainen, he's not a volume shooter, which is a lot of what I play, and a lot of what a lot of people play. You want the high volume, um, just for room for error and stuff. But there are the players like Teravainen who are just more efficient with their shots in general. He doesn't really ever get massive volume, but yeah, when he gets 4 or 5 attempts, he can still get three on net. Anything can happen, but he seems to be a player who is more capable of doing that. And over his last 5, he's hit 4 times. And I'm looking at the volume. Last game he went 5 for 6, which is nice. But then before that, it was 3 for 4, 3 for 3, 3 for 4. So there is that risk with the low volume, but just the fact that he's taken his chances lately and coming into this matchup against Montreal, I just really like it. He's crushed them in the past 6 meetings. He's hit over 2.5 each time, and 5 of them he has 5 or more shots. So he's really crushing that line. I just think he'll get his chances today, whether it's on the power play or even if it's just some 5v5 chances. Montreal has just not been good at stopping his position, and it was at plus 110 a little bit earlier. With Tuvo, it's just kind of like a call on your shot kind of thing, and I think that this is a good matchup for it.
Yeah, it is. My hesitation was just how few of attempts he's getting, knowing that he's going to have to make everyone count. Scares me a little bit, but can't ignore that history. And I mean, he's still delivering, even though the attempts aren't that high. So
It's funny, even if you just raise his minimum attempts to 3, his hit rate goes up to 60%. So it's just like a lot of his games, it's just he's just not shooting as much. But hey, if he's getting 4 or 5 attempts recently, let's say 4 attempts, his hit rate goes up to 67%. So that's all it really comes down to. 5 attempts, 82%. So against Montreal, I think he can get 4 or 5 attempts and make good use of them.
yeah, I think there's going to be plenty to go around. So why not Teravainen? If you do prefer volume, you probably have to pair it with something. Or I think this could be a good ladder candidate with Sveshnikov shots, who at home last 10 he's averaging 6.8 attempts and 4.3 shots on goal per game. And his last couple against Montreal, he's got 5+ shots in 3 of his last 4, 6+ in 2 of his last 3. So 2.5 certainly looks good. He's also got 3 goals in his last 3 against him. But I wouldn't hate playing him straight at 4 if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, he was somebody I had, made a little note for a good alt line today. Uh, Much better volume at home. Goes under 3 shots a lot on the road. So he's got a better floor at home of hitting his 3 shots, and then, yeah, he's had games with, some huge explosions, 7 shots in there, 6 shots, so I definitely think he can be a good candidate for that today.
And then I mean, I also like Aho. I paired him with Dubois, who we'll get to in a little bit. But Aho, he's just hit 6 of his last 7 at home, 8 straight against Montreal. Kept it pretty simple. In a game, I think there's plenty. His odds weren't even that bad. Minus 145 to get 3 shots. We should probably mention a play we're both on. Looking at power play numbers, it's interesting. I put these together every day. Teams are getting much better at killing penalties lately. There's not that many great targets, so when one comes up, it's certainly exciting. And I would be a little surprised here if Carolina doesn't score on the power play. They got one of the best power play scoring rates last 10. Montreal's penalty kill, 65.7, one of the worst marks in the league, and they're handing out 3.5 power plays opportunity per game. And you tack on that last 3 games against each other, Carolina's got 5 power play goals. So I imagine if on Barstool, this price is probably horrible. I didn't even look, but I know we went right to
It's already
Teravainen here.
dropped. Our odds already dropped too for Teravainen. Power
Yeah.
play.
Still good. We got it plus 225 was the best odds. Now it's plus 198. Teravainen for a power play point. You know, he's got 1 in 3 of his last 4, and he has 1 in 3 straight and 5 of his last 6 against Montreal. So that was a fun one we had to grab here in what looks to be a smash spot for power play scoring.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Just that those numbers were just hilarious. 5 of his last 6 getting a power play point against this team, and obviously that spans a couple years, but I think you've brought it up just so many times how Montreal just sucks on the penalty kills. So just seeing that was just like you sent it to me, and I was just like, all right, yep, sounds good. Let's take the shot.
And if you want something, I would have to say we've only gone through 2 games, a pretty reasonable point parlay of Verhaeghe and Teravainen to just get a normal point. I mean, if we like him on a power play, of course, that would extend elsewhere. And he's got a point in 8 of his last 10, 8 of his last 10 at home. And he's got 2 points in 3 straight against Montreal. So him only being minus 150 for a point is pretty solid as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
If you want a safer path.
Oh man, we're only 2 games in. Uh-oh.
I know. Yeah, we should probably keep it moving. I guess I just want to say Nick Suzuki's name out loud. Not a good game for me to go to him, but man, has he been awesome to us, and I'd love to see him come through again. But really hard to back him here against Carolina. So
yeah, same. Love what he's been doing. If he can just overcome the matchup and have a great game, I'm okay with missing it. It's just not a matchup I want to be involved in. I've tried to find angles against Carolina, and I'm pretty sure I've lost every single one. So I'm done with that.
Yeah. All right. Winnipeg, Columbus, another it's always good to see Columbus on the ice. So what were you seeing here first?
Everything. No. Just Winnipeg should be able to crush in this matchup. Everybody's been doing it against Columbus. I think the 2 that stood out to me, there was 3 that really stood out, but the obvious one I think is Dubois. I love that guy. He's been hitting his line very consistently. Sure, you see a little bit of red in there recently, but his volume dropped a bit that game. But his last 2, his last 3, he has 17 attempts again, so it's climbing up a bit. And I always mention that with Dubois. If you think there's going to be some volume for him, he's a great play. That's usually the case when you see him not hitting his shot line. You look at his attempts and they're just like 1, 2, something like that. But once he starts getting the volume, he's awesome. I was actually possibly going to just do 4 shots if it becomes available for him in this matchup. I think he should be able to get the chances and get that done.
Yeah, I mean, his road volume is awesome. 7 attempts his last 5 on the road. He's got 4+ in 3 of 4, 3+ in 8 of his last 9 on the road. Yeah, I mean, certainly a good one. I paired him with Aho myself at, I think it was +165 on DraftKings.
Yeah. I'm trying
I
to answer this question. Somebody, we talked about it a bit. What were your thoughts on Ekblad? He's rolling. The matchup's a little iffy. He had a good game against them last time, and we just think anybody on Florida is shooting a lot, so it's kind of hard to pick. But yeah, his volume's there, and he's been rolling. So that's about it for there.
Yeah. On Winnipeg, one of the first names that came up this morning, it's easy to just navigate over, in Columbus, such a great shot target. And I know Winnipeg hasn't played on the road in a bit, since January 24th. But I was looking at those splits, and Kyle Connor's volume on the road has been just awesome. Last 5 on the road, 8.6 attempts, averaging 5.4 shots on goal per game. He's over 3.5 in 4 of those. He had 6 in 3 of them, 6 or more. And he's had a couple big games against Columbus. Last 3, he had 6 against them in December. Last year he had 5. He did go under in one of those, but he was plus money in a game I expect him to get plenty of shots. So I just really like seeing that road volume. So I locked in Kyle Connor at +102.
Yeah, it's a good matchup to do it. His minutes are also trending up a little bit. If you look at his last 10 games or so, is that on the road that he gets the bigger minutes? I don't know. Anyway, it seems like he's getting a little bit more time on ice, and the volume is definitely better lately than the stretch in the middle of the season. I don't know what was going on with him, but yeah, I think that looks good in this matchup for how he's been doing lately, especially on the road.
That was about all I wrote down for this. I mean, it's another game I feel like a ton of people could go over for Winnipeg, but
It's so weird looking at Morrissey in 2 of his last 3 meetings against Columbus. He had 0 shots on goal, which is weird because it's such a good matchup for defensemen. But his volume's worth noting lately. Really big spike in his volume. I mean, the year is 4.6 attempts a game, and then last 5 is 8.8. He's had some huge games.
yeah, it's crazy.
So if he's going to be taking 9, 10 shots against Columbus, he's got a -135 price for 3 shots, which isn't bad. But in his last, oh wow, he's only landed on 3 times this season, and then the other game, or last 30 games, sorry, the other games have been 4 or more when he goes over. So that could, if you want to take a stab at something, whatever the value could be on him, if they come up with alts, could be pretty nice if 3 shots is -135.
Yeah, I was bummed to see a couple zeros in there. Was the
Yeah,
only thing that
definitely.
scared me off, but great defenseman target. Let's keep it moving. Boston, Nashville. Next one I'm seeing. I thought there's merit to looking at both sides for shots, and I think Boston can find some goals. That was my initial scan. Roman Yossi smacked me right in the face this morning. I think my jaw might have dropped a little bit, so he was actually the first bet I put in. His shots at 3.5. I mean, before I even get to what he's done against Boston, Boston's been a little looser as shots lately, especially on the road. 31.3 is an inviting number to me, at least. And they've been handing out a decent amount of power plays, which helps the cause there. So was hoping Yossi was going to have some nice recent games and against Boston, because he's leading that power play. Yossi's over, and 2 of his last 3 attempts are always awesome. And then last 2 games against Boston, he has 9 shots in each of them, which is just a hilariously high number. And then going back further, last 9 games against Boston, he's over in 7 of them, and he averages 6 shots per game. He had some other monster games sprinkled in there. So that's just one of those where I already liked it for a variety of reasons, and then I see that and it's like, okay, here we go. Good ladder candidate, assuming we get those lines at some point.
Yeah, he's the that I didn't expect him to be hitting that crazy against Boston. The angle makes sense if he gets his power play chances. But yeah, that is crazy. I mean, it's not just 4 shots and it's like 9 shots in a couple games now. Um yeah, overall when you look at the matchup, it might not seem appealing, but they've definitely loosened up lately. So if they're going to be giving around 30 something shots a game and you throw a couple power plays into that, that's Yossi's those are Yossi's shots. So not bad at all.
I don't have anything else shots wise. I mean, Boston's gonna find their shots. I think Pasta looks good. For some reason, I'm just not in love with it. I mean, the volume is still great. He's hitting on the road. He hit the last time he was in Nashville. I wish Bergeron was shooting more because he loves the Predators. Um, I think he's got 5+ shots in 4 straight. 2 meetings last year, he had 13 shots and he's plus 130 for 4. I don't
You
know.
know you know who has 3 shots in both of his last games against
Yeah,
Nashville?
I know. I saw it. They're just such a bad.
Hampus Lindholm. Hampus. It's been rolling on the road. Uh, some 3-shot games in there.
Really bad defenseman target, though. They're only allowing like 6 per game to the position lately, which
Perfect. He only needs 2. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, that was funny. 3 in both of those games, and yeah, that was a hell of a cash last game. But I don't know if I could go back to that.
no, but yeah, I mean, I did notice it. Um, I do think Boston can score. Looks like their second line has been doing some damage lately. Krejci and I should have looked up how you say his name. It's certainly not Zaka. Maybe it is.
Getting some really good vibes in this chat right here.
Are we?
Yossi under at plus money. Give me that all day. He'll land on 3, and y'all will get hooked. So
Cool.
you got some competition there, Griff.
Cool. Good to visualize success. I appreciate that vote of confidence.
No, it's all right. You could be on different sides.
Yeah, that's fine. Go for it. Um, Zaka. I don't know how you say his name, but he's plus 112 for a point on the road. He's got 11 in his last 9. Um, he had a point last time he saw Nashville, and Krejci pretty much same production. On the road, he's got 12 in his last 9, and he's got a point in 7 of his last 10 overall. Both very reasonable odds in a game. I think Boston should be able to find some goals.
Yeah, that's really reasonable. Plus 112 there for the one, and minus 130 for the other. Nice prices.
All
All
right,
right.
that's about all I had down for this one. You had anything else you're interested in?
Um, not really. I think that was it in that game that stuck out for me.
All right, then we move to New Jersey, St. Louis. I was most interested in St. Louis shots, believe it or not. New Jersey's been a lot looser lately to shots, especially on the road. They're allowing almost 34. I don't know if Jack Hughes is back. Sounds like probably not, last I checked. And they've definitely been shooting a little bit less without him. So seeing St. Louis being a little tight to shots at home was enough to scare me off Devil shots, but I do think New Jersey's going to find some goals. So that was how I entered the game before looking into anything.
Yeah, I think Hamilton looks okay. His volume's still there. I don't think it's really changed too much. And he had 5 the last time he played St. Louis. Granted, it was at home. If you're gonna look at the Devil side, I think that would be the target I would look at, especially if Hughes is still out, then I think it's just even if they're shooting less overall as a team, uh, Dougie's still picking up the slack. So that's where I would look on the Devil side.
Yeah, might as well just go 5, right? If
I
you want
know.
to play these overs.
He hasn't landed on 4 in 9 games now. So yeah, if you think if Hughes is still out and you're looking for one guy to carry the load, Hamilton's could be good there for. He's still even money to get 4, but that would only mean his alt lines are going to be really nice. So
I liked Justin Falk for shots. I even put him in my article, and then right after I sent it in, he got completely taken off the board. I don't
yeah,
know why. He's still not up, but hopefully he comes back. Devils allow the ninth most hit defenseman over the last 10 games, and Falk has just been firing him off. He's got 15 shots on goal and 21 attempts over his last 3 games. You know, that's volume I want to follow, and it was plus 115. I don't know where it went. Hopefully it comes back, but that was my preferred look on the Blues end.
yeah, I had wrote him down too. I don't know where the line went. I was saying I looked on FanDuel and that game, he's not there for his regular over 2.5 line, and they had alts up, but only for 1 and 2 shots, nothing more, and he was in there. So I don't know if there's just something weird going on with him right now, but uh, he would be, yeah, it would be a fine look. Devils have loosened up a lot lately. It's very different from what we were used to, and his volume's out of control. So unfortunately, not seeing just that line right now, but hopefully, yeah, it comes back.
So
There you
I
go. Just 220 for 5 for Dougie. Oh,
wow,
Woo,
it's not bad.
goodness.
I do like Palat's point. He's on the top line. He's been rolling.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, he was my favorite guy last postseason.
hmm, yeah, he was great. He's got a point in 4 straight. He's got 6 total in that stretch. He's got a point in 8 of his last 10 on the road, very steady with a point in 6 of his last 7. Minus 125 for a top line guy. That's pretty reasonable for a team like how many goals the Blues let up. So, you could easily play that straight. I might play around with like a 2-legger for a half unit with Palat and someone else. Brat looks good too. His price is just minus 180, but him and Palat have been getting in on the fun for
Yeah, a
sure.
lot of assists for Palat.
All right, that means gold tonight.
That's what happened exactly with Sider. It was like, oh, only 3 goals on the season, nothing but assists lately. So don't play assist. And then he scored right away.
I'm so sorry if anyone played cider assist when we broke that down yesterday.
Point was plus money, and goal was plus 625. And he scored, of course.
We probably need we got 3 more games and 20 more minutes, so I think we got to keep it moving here.
Yep.
Detroit, Calgary. What are you seeing here? Because I definitely like Calgary for shots and goals. Shots and goals. Sorry, I don't know what just happened, but I don't
Kadri.
know where to go yet.
Kadri, that's a parlay piece for me today. His shots, 2.5. 67% hit rate, 72% hit rate at home. He had 3 in his last 2 meetings against Detroit, if you like seeing that. 16 attempts his last 2 games, which were on the road. Now he's heading back home where he has the higher hit rate anyway. Think that looks like a solid parlay piece to me today. From the lines, minus 160 for 2.5 could go good with something.
Yeah, that's solid. I kind of want to go back to our old friend Blake Coleman. I miss when he was plus money, and I know he's had two down games here, 1 total shot on goal on 4 attempts. But at home, his volume, he's averaging 6.2 in his last 5 at home. And stretching back a couple of years, he definitely likes playing Detroit. 3 games with Calgary, he's gone over 2.5 each time, and he's got a goal in 2 straight. And you go back a little further, and he's got 3+ in 5 of his last 6 against him. In a game, I think they're going to get plenty, especially with Detroit off a shootout win last night against Edmonton, and Edmonton got plenty of shots. I think Calgary's going to do the same. So I don't hate going back to Coleman here to see if he can recapture some of that magic we had in January.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just like you said, the price. Seeing him at around minus 130 with the lower volume, and then seeing Kadri at minus 160, uh, same 2.5 line. I think that was just why I kind of went to Kadri. There's just a little bit too much to. I didn't like the price on Coleman personally, but I understand definitely better volume on home ice recently. He had some pretty big attempt games, so we you can't just assume the guy's going to go under every single game just because he's had a couple bad ones. So this looks like a fine spot for him to get something going though.
And I certainly expect Flames to score. No one was really bringing the consistency I liked for any sort of point props. So I think I'm going to just do Calgary, probably move it down over 2.5 in regulation with something later this afternoon. I mean, they hit that number pretty steady against Detroit, and the numbers certainly suggest they're going to get there, especially with, I don't even know who's in net. I can't imagine Husso goes again.
Of course, they're not giving us a Dubé shot line. He's been looking all right lately, getting points. Had 2 goals last game. He had 4 shots last time they played Detroit a few games ago. So wonder if you'll see anything come up for him today.
Maybe. That's about it. I'm sure Sire will keep getting a point. But
I don't want to mess around against Calgary.
no.
Well, I mean, Markstrom's not been great. Who's in? Who's in net?
The score had Vlader.
All right.
Oh, he's confirmed. Yeah, so Markstrom's not in net.
If it was Markstrom, I would just bet Larkin first goal. if he had been starting, Larkin's been out of control. But anyway, he's not. So let's move on to the next game.
Yeah, next game is Vegas San Jose. This is another one. I definitely like Vegas to score and probably shoot too. I think I might just do their team total as well because I wasn't really in love with a ton of individuals here. I don't know if you found something.
Trangelo.
Yeah.
It's been hitting his line. Volume's a little bit lower than I'd like lately, especially for him because he's had some impressively inefficient games in the past. So would like better volume, but he's 8 shots on goal in 2 games versus the Sharks this season, and he had some good attempts in those games, 14 total attempts. I think he's been solid at home as well. Yeah, been doing well at home lately. It's hitting his shots even on 3 attempts against the Ducks. But yeah, if he can get that volume, which San Jose's definitely been letting up shots to defensemen lately, looks pretty reasonable at minus 102 for shots.
Yeah, I wrote that down as a maybe. So that means I won't play it and it'll hit. So you should definitely jump on that. Only prop thing I wrote down was I thought William Karlsson points looked okay at minus 122. I mean, he's got 6 of his last 9 overall at home. He's got 9 in his last 10 with 1 and 7 of those. And he's got 4 points in his last 4 against the Sharks. So I think that looks fine at reasonable price. He's on the second line, I believe, but I think I'm going to probably just do Vegas's team total.
Yeah. Timo's had some nice games against Vegas, shots wise, some big games. He's gone under in a couple, but then in the games he's gone over 8 shots, 6 shots, 7 shots, rival over there. So he's been hitting his line lately.
He's rolling.
Yeah, his volume's nice again. back to where we like seeing Timo getting almost 10 attempts in some of these games. Uh, he could have himself a night. He's at -155 though, but in his last four, he's got 7.555, and he was initially this season a 4.5 line. So now if he's back to that volume and shooting like that, I wonder what he'll be for his 5 shot line again. I'm always checking out these alt lines now. I'm tired of pairing these parlays together and losing one leg while the other guy has an insane night. So
I know. I
check
just
these out.
wish they came out in the morning, didn't hold our day hostage. All right, let's hop to the last game then. Philly, Seattle. I'm excited about one play here I put in. I
Yeah, I
definitely
was
was
surprised at first, but I see why now.
so I like Seattle for shots. I mean, they're averaging over 32 at home. Philly's letting up over 31. So that was good enough for me to dive in. And Jordan Eberle really caught my eye at plus 146. And you might look at him and so technically he's only gone over 2.5 once in his last 9 games, but I'd like to just shorten that to one in his last 6 games because there's been quite a lift here in his last 6. So he's only gotten 3 shots once in this 6, but he has 2 in all of the other ones. And the attempts have been very solid here, five plus attempts. He had 7 attempts against Philly 4 days ago. And at this price, we talk about I've been wanting to play around with this shot attempts filter more on props.cash. Seeing him get 5 attempts so frequently, when he does hit that number, he's covering 2.5 at a 64% rate. So as long as that roll continues, at some point this guy's got to break through the hump and get 3 shots, and he has some nice success against Philly. He didn't hit against them 4 days ago, but last year he had a couple big games. I'm just bringing it up because I think he hit in three straight prior to his last game, 4, 5, and 3 shots. So that was enough for me to take a stab here. I was just kind of feeling a little daring. Plus 146. I mean, the volume's there. The base is there. If we get alts, I think Eberle at 2 would be a nice parlay leg because he's
Yeah,
loving getting 2. But
100%. That's solid.
I'm gonna have to go for 3 here. I don't know. Feel like rolling the dice on it on a good price.
Yeah. That was like I saw it. I was just like, man, all right, what's he getting at here? And then I just saw I was like, what is this guy doing? His volume's there. So yeah, you just gotta hope it balances out. Yeah, I'm actually kind of similar reasoning. I like Jaden Schwartz here. He's hit in 4 of his last 6. He had 5 last time he played Philly. And if you look at his chart, definitely a lot of misses in there, and especially in the middle, it's kind of like a bookend. He was hitting his line at the beginning and hitting it now. And if you go to his attempts, the picture's pretty clear there. He was the season open and he was getting far more attempts and he was hitting his 2.5 line. And then massive stretch in the middle where the volume dropped and he wasn't hitting, but the volume's coming back up in recent games and he's starting to hit his line today. So plus 118, I think there's some value on the Seattle side with their attempts lately. I mean, Eberle too. His attempts are great as well. So I think either one is one of them should have a nice game here, I think.
Yeah, I think Schwartz looks pretty solid too. I wish Jared McCann did anything whenever he plays Philly because he was certainly the steadiest at home lately for the Kraken with the best volume, but he really likes to get one shot against Philly, and that's not something I like to do. So I'm going to stay off of him.
What about his point? Reasonable price. Just getting some production lately. He was like a guy who was literally only scoring for a while, but volume
Philly,
dropped a little bit, but it was really high. So
Philly's just been really tight to goals lately. I don't know if Carter Hart has just found a groove or something, but they're only letting up 2.3 on the road last 10. So that scared me off. Yeah. Carter Hart hasn't let up more than 2 in 4 straight starts. He's rolling right now against some decently solid offenses too. So not my preferred game for goals.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think one of those guys though is gonna hit their shots. Everly or Schwartz looks like a good spot. All right.
All right, let's move over to best bets. We got through it all. Quick recap. I only start with you. Wow,
Oh,
what's
jeez.
some of your favorites? Unless you
Uh,
need me to go first to collect yourself.
well, I mean, Sarah Vine was my favorite today. Um, just think the matchup is perfect for a guy like him who uh can be so effective with his shots, kind of regardless of that volume. But I think this is a spot where he should be able to get his chances. So his shots were looking really good to me. Kuznetsov, I played his shots. I think the matchup against Florida is a fine one. I think there's going to be shots from both sides, and with Ovi out, he seems to step up, and the price was nice for that matchup. Uh, I'm not sure what else I have right now, so you can go.
Okay, I do want to flag Justin Falk back on the board. I'm seeing plus 115. So
Huh.
that is one of my favorites today.
Hmm.
I mean, Yossi shots. I know some of the sharps here on the stream are hammering his under, but man, I just can't ignore that history against Boston and the matchup in general. I'm glad it's not just history and that there's
Oh
some power
shoot,
play chances likely coming. What's
the
up?
user was the JFK family, so that's a high profile person fading you right now.
Damn. Um, let's see what else. I really like Kyle Connor shots. Um, and I'm excited for Eberly to break through for me later. A couple of my favorites, but ones I haven't played yet that we mentioned that I will be playing in some form. Carolina's team total in something for Hagee's point, um, Palat point, and Calgary and Vegas's team total. In some form, I'm playing those things. So yeah. All right. Why don't we move to Pickett play of the day? We found these odds on Pickett, of course, where you can find the best prices. And that would be Tuvo Teravine to get a power play point. Uh, we're going a little bold with the Pickett play of the day. Came through yesterday with Hayton. We're liking that price there. He's been producing. He loves getting power play points against Montreal, and it's a great spot for Carolina to find some power play success. So whether it's
Hmm.
an assist or a goal, I don't care. But let's get them involved there on power play unit 1.
Yeah. I also I don't know. I just think it's a smash spot. No, don't even need to look at much aside from just how terrible their PK is. But he's shooting a bit on the power play too, despite his lower volume shooting. He can get some shots off on the power play. So yeah, I love the spot for him to get one. I did half unit on it. It was at plus 225 at that point. I think it's already moving a bit, but nice return on a smaller unit play here.
Yeah,
Like it.
I did half unit as well. I think it's around plus 200 still. So um, yeah, it should be fun. I mean, looking forward to it hitting.
Yeah.
Cool. All righty. Well, thanks for joining. Hope you have a good night tonight. And we'll see you back here on Monday next week.
Yeah, let's hit some of these plus money bets. Seems like a nice plus money day. Let's get it done.
Cool. Yeah, I'm down.
All right, see you guys.